Hi, everybody. Welcome to another new episode of Alto Call. This episode, we are going to get to it, but we are talking about Love is Blind UK finally. Woohoo! Hi, Aid.
Hi, Tane. How are ya?
I'm good. I can't believe it's actually here. I feel like it was just yesterday that the announcement was like Love is Blind is coming to the UK, and now it's a reality. And I'm excited now, even though my hopes were low, but my expectations were met. But we will talk about that later.
I mean, to jump all the way to the end, um, I was just so pleased. I'm like, this is why I will sing the praises of Love is Blind, the concept, till the end of time. Because you can put them anywhere. The concept works. It is entertaining.
It is quite entertaining. But before we get in there, let's take care of some housekeeping. What you got?
So if you are a if you're a patron, you can check out our 90-day happily ever after whatever it is they're doing, living in a house, having a tell all in one. We have that episode up on Patreon for part one and part two. And we will have a second part coming out once this second TV show slash tell all of the present TV show is over.
And guys, we've spoken ad nauseum how we feel about the 90-day franchise at this time, but I think I'm curious to know what the people out there still think about 90 Day. Like, where are you guys on 90 Day Fiance? Like, 90 Day Fiance, 90 Day the other way. Like, are you still feeling this show like you used to? Does it still entertain you? Because I tell Aid all the time when we record off air, like, I just feel like they have a skill for getting the most unlikable people, and it's getting kind of ridiculous. But I don't know if we or I'm in the minority of this. But how are you guys feeling about this franchise at this moment?
I mean, you ask the people, but I'll tell you what I think. Um, I think there's a little bit of an oversaturation. They probably should not have any one version of 90 Day on at one time because I'm not even watching the other way. And then I know it's only on like Max or Discovery Plus or whatever, but 90 Day Fiance UK, that was on the same time too, which I did watch it. I was behind most of the time, but I did watch it. And it wasn't as good as the first, or I think this was the third season. It wasn't as good as the
Yeah,
previous seasons, but it was still pretty good. But I still think there's too many franchises. Just do one at a time. That
but I
would
want
be
to say, Aid, this is not the first time they've had multiple, and we watched it all, and I don't think I felt the same way I do now. Like, I was still like entertained while watching them all the time. Like, it's not new that they have this many on at the same time, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
okay.
But now I'm not even compelled. I'm just like, if half the time I'm watching this show, I'm rolling my eyes. Like, oh, Jasmine and Gina are on my screen. Oh, Ed and Liz are on my screen. Oh, they have these people, Shekinah and whatever, are back. I'm rolling my eyes half the time. Every time these people are on my screen. So, yeah, anyways. But you guys tell us what you think.
So Tane. With Married at First Sight, even though they have not given us a date when they're coming back, what's going on with all the old people?
Is this show ever going to come back this year?
Who
But
knows? Who knows?
all right. Okay, things that are happening right now. Lindsay has 3 months until her wedding. I feel like she just got engaged, but wedding planning is in full swing, and she posted some text messages about their, I think, first dance song or whatever. But it's coming in 3 months. What is 3 months? We're in August, so September, October, November. So
Mm,
yeah, it's coming. Good news. Eric from Atlanta. I shared with you guys how he and his wife were going through IVF and it didn't work, but it looks like it worked, and he is going to be a daddy. Um, if I remember correctly, the baby's due in February 2025. But congratulations to them.
Congratulations. That's really great news for Eric and his wife, whose name
Yes.
I never knew.
I always forget. I probably shouldn't talk about this because I don't have the full details, but I did want to mention. Kate from the Philadelphia season, from Kate and Luke saga. She did post something, and the reason why I don't have full details is that I went back to get the full details, and it looks like she took it off. It looked like there's a comedian or a duo. I don't know. They're comedians. They trademarked the name Kate and Luke or something. So every time you search for it, it comes up. And she mentioned how she was on a reality show. It was one of the most traumatic things in her. So for someone to trademark that so that it leads to them and they're making money off of it, and there were some people in the comments saying, for you to think that, you're that important, that somebody went to trademark that. But what are the odds that they just trademarked the Kate and Luke, name together? So details are fuzzy, but I just wanted to mention that maybe something happened, maybe some legalities or something, but I don't see the post on her page anymore. So that's why I apologize in advance that I don't have like the full and accurate details of what happened. So this is all from my memory, which is kind of shit lately. But I don't know if
I
you saw
mean,
it, Aid.
I didn't see it, but also like Kate and Luke are not the like most unique names.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that a comedy duo who probably never watched Married at First Sight in their lives, whose names are Kate and Luke, just yeah.
Yeah, who knows? But yeah. A bunch of anniversaries. Ashley and Anthony celebrated 8 years. Shanice and Jeffy celebrated 7 years. Jessica and Austin celebrated 5 years. And also, they just had their second baby, and it's Everett Brooks. So they have two boys now.
Aw. You posted the picture on our Instagram and it was very cute. They're just very cute in general.
They're just in their own bubble, just being happy, being simple, no stress. Like I've never like Jessica really enjoys her job as a nurse. Like no matter the night schedule she has to work, she just has a great time. So congratulations to them. In baby news, I am saying this again. Amber from the North Carolina season is having a baby. I feel like I announced that before, but then I was like, did announce an engagement and a wedding? Because the comments were like, "Oh, my baby's having a baby," and I'm like, "Didn't we know this before?" And this has happened before, where Kate had announced an engagement, and then she posted it again like it was an engagement. And I think we had someone even message us like, "Hey, this happened," and I'm like, "Wait, I thought she announced it already before." So, in case you didn't know, Amber is having a baby.
I'm like, no, I can't remember. We did have a whole discussion
Yeah,
when the last announcement, and we may have even commented on the speed. And I feel like part of our commentary on the speed is because she was pregnant. But who
yeah.
knows?
Who knows? We never wait. She's having a baby. And lastly, Lauren from the most recent season posted a bunch of stories, not a bunch, just two stories where she posted a text message, a screenshot where she said, "Just sent old buddy yet another email about finalizing our divorce. Will he ignore me? Will he sign the papers and file? Will I be divorced before 2025? Find out on the next episode of This Is Some Bullshit." And her caption was, "Anyone have advice for getting divorce paperwork signed by a person who wanted to be divorced ever so badly, but now won't sign papers, even though he had to do nothing else in this process, because luckily a real adult led it all, and now all he has to do is sign some shit so it can be filed, and the mediator can do his job, asking for a friend who has been waiting for months now." And then she also said, "Marry a stranger," they said. "It'll be fun," they said. "No, don't back out. We have a perfect, mature match for you," they said. And here she is. It's not funny, but
It
why
is
wouldn't he sign
funny.
it?
I mean, she clearly there's it's dark humor, dark humor. Just in case, if you're listening and you have not listened to our interview with Lauren, go back and listen.
Yeah. I, where I agree with her is this man wanted a divorce like what, 2 weeks in? Why is he not signing it? Like, what is he getting out of it?
I truly believe that people like to fuck with people for the fun of it,
Ugh, that's
as a
just
form
called
of
evil.
punishment. And by people, I mean I say people, mostly men. Women don't do this stuff. Uh, someone's about to tell me a story of a woman who did this stuff, but no, it's mostly men.
That's what they call evil. Sign the papers, Orion. Be free. Set her free. But yeah, that's all I got for Mapsland.
Cool. So on our previous episodes, I'm sure all of you have been watching the Olympics because it feels like I'm telling you, my timeline. I feel like everybody watches Olympics. I don't know if the same could be said for Tokyo.
Well,
Tane, what
that's
do
a
you think?
different. I don't think I would include anything COVID era related in any historical data. It's just sorry guys, unprecedented times. So I think everyone watches the Olympics, but Tokyo was we were just coming out of a collective trauma, and people were fighting for their lives, processing losses, regrouping. Like that was not top of mind for a lot of people.
And I really think the whole empty stadium, no celebrities, like being like, "Oh, I'm here." Yeah, I think that all makes a difference in the pop culture penetration of the Olympics because I'm like, dang, I thought. I mean, of course, I watch the Olympics, but I felt like my whole timeline is everybody watching the Olympics. So the Olympics are over, so I'm a little bit sad. I, NBC does this montage at the end of the Olympics every time, and I forget about it every time. But they do it to the "Remember the Titans" music, and I almost cried because it's like the people being happy, the people being sad, the fact that it's over. Like it's just so hard. And then you're like, okay, we'll do this again in 4 years, and Snoop is doing a concert on the beach in LA to be like, hey, we're gonna be here in 4 years, and it was great. Did you watch any of the closing ceremony?
No. I was going, I had something to take care of, but I watched some clips afterwards. And also for the closing montage, I watched the BBC's version of it. And that was really touching, especially since they started with little Tom Daly saying, maybe I'll still be competing in 2024. And then they started the montage with that. And then they had parents showing their kids pictures of their kids and then them competing in 2020. It was just really touching. It was really nice.
Thanks, Tane. I'm about to go look that up. I was okay. You're gonna be. Was Becky Downey in that thing?
Yes, yes. The only person that I was really, I'm blanking right now, that I was like, where is she? Where is she? Was Keely. And I'm like, how can they not have her? But she was at the end.
Okay, I'm
She
sure
had
they
her
had
at the end.
Brienne
So
too. The
yeah.
trampoliner. Okay, okay. I
Honestly, don't
will.
call me out on my memory. My memory is so shit that
The funny, I'm like Keely Hodgkinson. Is she the runner?
yes, 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 yes,
Okay,
yes. She was the one who finally, because I remember the commentary. I was also way into the Olympics too this year, and I remember the commentator said always the silver medalist, but finally a gold medalist, and I was like, okay, but yes,
someone needs to make a commentator's like burn something
yeah,
because some of the stuff they say sometimes is like damning but faint praise.
they were great. They were great. Like everything about it. Like I did. I mean, I have complaints about Peacock's, run of it, but whatever. But for the most part, I think it was great. Especially since the difference between watching it live during the daytime and seeing what they do with it in the primetime package. It was nice.
Yeah, yeah. I think NBC had to take a new strategy because what they used to do is as recently as London, they would try to like not show it during the day and act like they could show it in prime time. And we've moved on. Like people, I think they realize people are going to watch it live and then they're going to watch it again in prime time. Like I'm pretty sure NBC had pretty good numbers this Olympics. I can't wait for them to tell us. So
Yeah, I think the difference is streamers. Now they're pushing Peacock as hard as they can, and it kind of helped with that. And especially the whole multi-view thing. I mean, YouTube TV had it because that's what I have instead of cable. But the good thing is, like with Peacock, I want to say there were no ads, but there kind of were ads, but it wasn't as annoying as if you were watching it on regular cable or things. So I think the difference was having the streamer.
I can't believe we're going to praise the network. We're going to say good job, but yeah, good job NBC.
Yeah.
Now, once the Olympics are over, the drama of Jordan Chiles and her bronze medal continues.
Mm-hmm.
It is some bullshit, to put it plainly. As a gymnastics fan who has watched a lot of bullshit, this one is the every time, I'm telling you, you guys, we've had so much as gymnastics fans. I, there was the year when they set the vault height wrong for the women's all around final. Stop, mind you, the people in the top group go first on vault. So people were falling all over the place. Finally, a gymnast from Australia is like, this vault is not right. And they're like, oh, we set the vault wrong. Oh, we'll give people an opportunity to do a redo. Which I only tell that story to be like, as a gymnastics fan, I have seen some shit. This Jordan Chiles thing is the worst simply because the precedent it's going to set, like, oh, you're mad at the results. You're just, yes, the Court of Arbitration for Sport exists for a reason, but it's never been used to take a medal away from someone who didn't do anything wrong.
I think you should give a quick overview. I mean, I assume like everyone knows what it is, but there just might be people out there who have no idea what you're talking about. So just a quick overview of the whole incident, what happened, and this whole back and forth that we're going back, which I think news just came out now of the latest updates, which to your point, some bullshit, but go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much, Tane. See, I'm in my bubble where I'm like, of course everybody knows what's going on with Jordan Chiles. Okay. And it was a big moment when it happened. Last event of gymnastics in the Olympics was the women's floor final. Simone bounces all over the place, gets a silver medal. Rebecca Andrade does great, gets the gold. After Jordan is the last gymnast to go. After she goes, her score comes up, she gets fifth. She's getting sad. 2 minutes later, 1 minute later, the announcers are like, Jordan submitted an inquiry. We're all kind of waiting the results of the inquiry, but in the meantime, the third place Romanian gymnast is with on the podium with her flag, getting ready to celebrate. Score comes up, Jordan's inquiry is accepted. If you really want to get in the nitty gritty, the inquiry is for a dance element. Sometimes she doesn't get it all the way around. Her coach watched and was like, I think she got it all the way around. I'm going to do an inquiry. Jordan is fifth. There's no risk to doing an inquiry. Like I said, I've seen it all. Uh, because if you inquire you can only inquire on difficulty, and you can inquire and they can lower the score. But
Yeah.
Cecile Landy, her coach, was like, she's not in medal position. I think she got that element all the way around, and they did not credit her. I'm going to submit an inquiry. That's how Jordan got her bronze medal. Is they looked at it, they're like, she did get it all the way around. We owe her a 10th. As far as the Romanians go, people need to understand Nadia Comaneci is like the most famous Romanian gymnast from the 1970s. Everybody knows her, first perfect 10 at the Olympics. Romania was a powerhouse in gymnastics, and then they had a decline. So Romania has not won a medal at the Olympics in women's gymnastics since 2012. Their homegirl getting a medal was going to be a big thing for her, a big thing for Romanian gymnastics. Like, they were going to be back on top. Well, not on top, but like working their way in
On the podium.
on the podium. So when Anna Barbusu lost her medal, it was a thing. Plus the way it happened, like she was up there with the flag getting ready to celebrate, and they're like, just kidding. That was on her, and that was kind of on her coaches because they should have known that an inquiry was submitted, and it's not over until the inquiry is done.
Mm.
Then there's the fourth place. Wait, let's just say the fifth place person before Jordan, whatever. That was another Romanian gymnast. And the thing there is that she got deducted for going out of bounds. On video replay, she may not have gone out of bounds. Her coach could have submitted an inquiry for that and didn't. So
Mm.
they went to the Court of Arbitration for Sport and they said that Jordan's inquiry was submitted late and she should not have gotten her corrected score. They also said that the other Romanian gymnast, not the one who was up celebrating the third place, her neutral deduction for stepping out of bounds was incorrect. So they tried, the Romanian Federation, I think, is a little bit full of shit. So they tried to save face. And in their filing, they were like, oh, we just want all three of them to get the bronze medal. There would be a precedent for that, probably if Jordan was in fourth. But once they took away the 10th because they said that Cecile's inquiry, her coach, was 4 seconds late. Mind you, there is no timer. Apparently, the FIG official writes down the time, and that's the time. But we don't know if that time is from when the official wrote it down or if that time is from when Cecile actually said something. And there's no procedure for this. The rules just say 1 minute. I- yeah. So the Romania Federation went to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and under the rules for the Olympics, it's an expedited process. So they were like, "Oh, Cecile submitted the inquiry too late. FIG, that's the people in charge of gymnastics, broke their own rule. So the 10th is that Jordan got back from the inquiry is taken away. She's in 5th place, and that medal should go to the person who's in 3rd place." So there's a lot of confusion here because it's not that confusing, but I think the problem is I think they would have been more IOC, because the International Olympic Committee is the person who actually gives the medals. They would probably be willing to have them share a medal if it wasn't for the fact that Jordan dropped to 5th with Cass's decision. So and I guess they don't want to do 3 bronze medals because that would be a little bit of a joke. And I can sort of see that. Like, why would 3rd place get a medal and 5th place get a medal and then 4th place not get a medal?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, you take away medals because someone cheated. A federation cheated. Um, Someone was doping. I'm like, do these people understand the can of worms that they have opened up? Is everybody in gymnastics just going to start filing with CAS in the middle of competitions when they don't like the result or they think that they can catch someone being 4 seconds late?
Wasn't there someone, didn't they submit everything with video evidence showing that it wasn't in fact 4 seconds late and it was within the time period?
So, God bless U.S. gymnastics and the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. Look, people, this is America. We got money. um, and those are both pretty powerful entities within the Olympic movement. And they have decided to go to war for Jordan. And they've been very public about the fact they're going to war for Jordan. So they said that they have video evidence that Cecile submitted the inquiry at 47 seconds and 55 seconds. Why they didn't have this for the first court hearing, I don't know. Cass has come out and said that the US did not dispute that they submitted the inquiry 4 seconds late until after the ruling. Then they were like, oh, wait, we have video evidence that it was 47 and 55. But even today, they're submitting. First off, you can't really appeal to Cass. It was kind of like a last ditch effort. Um, the next option is probably going to be to go to the Swiss federal court. This is why people like to do things in Switzerland. That's why lots of arbitration international agreements are out of Switzerland. But yes, the next step is they can go to Swiss court, which I assume that's what USAG and USA Gymnastics and the USA Olympic and Paralympic Committee are going to do. Because
Yes.
they submitted a statement that was like, we know we lost with Cass. We are still going to keep on fighting from Jordan to the bitter, bitter end.
It's very interesting. And CAS stands for the Court of Arbitration for Sport, again, for anyone who doesn't know. But it's trippy to me that the statement was that CAS said that their rules do not allow for an arbitral award to be reconsidered, even when conclusive new evidence is presented. That's a wild statement to me.
Yeah, but it's also completely different case, but the US figure skating team just got their medals in France from this week from the 2022 Beijing Olympics. It took 2+ years for CAS to sort out their case, which involved doping by a Russian athlete. There are actually 2 cases, but all this to say, it's kind of, I'm not super familiar with CAS, but I'm like, how did it take us 2 years for the figure skating, both US and Japan, to get their medals from the Beijing Olympics, but you're going to reallocate another medal in like 24 hours? Like, that's crazy to me. But I guess they're like, I don't know. That's why I'm like, this could take a while. Like, it could be years before this is resolved. A lot of people are like, oh, Jordan shouldn't give back the medal. Well, no, do I think she should give back the medal? Hell to the no, to the no, no, no. But because part of participating in the Olympics is submitting yourself to the arbitration procedures, just like when you guys signed your cell phone bill or whatever, you're like, oh, I agreed to go to arbitration. When Jordan said, I'm going to the Olympics, she agreed to go to submit herself to the authority of the Court of Arbitration for Sports accelerated Olympic review. So she could look, she could keep the medal, but word on the street is if she were to keep the medal after they asked for it back, she may never be able to compete internationally in gymnastics again, and I doubt that that's something she wants. So that sucks.
My thoughts on this is like regardless of how it ends, it's already like tainted. I'm not gonna lie, I did feel bad for the Romanian gymnast because seeing her with her flag up, seeing her crying and all that kind of stuff, like at the end of the day, to me, the villains were the judges. If they had just done, again, human error, I get it, but if they had just done what they were supposed to do and all that stuff, it wouldn't have been a thing here. But whether she gets it, whether she keeps it, whether it takes 10 years, 2 years, anything, it's all this is not, it's unfortunate because we're saying this, but this is Jordan's real life, that's going on. And it's just always going to be like a taint on everything. So, I wish her the best and I hope she surrounds herself with people who love her.
Me too. I mean, there's a taint to this particular medal, but at the end of the day, Jordan Chiles is an Olympic champion. She won the team medal with the team, and I do feel bad for the Romanians. Like, I feel bad for the entire Romanian program. The Romanian Federation, I think, has been a little. Nadia Comaneci is on my shit list because she has been liking some things, and she is not a real. She's like a kind of official within Romanian gymnastics, and she has been acting pretty unprofessionally, in my opinion. But this is what happens when you used to be great and you can't. You're not doing well with the idea that you are not that great anymore, and you feel like you were almost there, and you feel like something was taken away from you. I also
Yeah.
don't want to like. We'll close up on this topic pretty soon. Like Jordan has gotten a lot of racist abuse online, because that's the nature of things. When something involves a black person, the people will come out and just be awful and show them their true selves. um but like in the wider range of things, this is more about Romania and its place in gymnastics, and the United States and its place in gymnastics. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot there. The US is very powerful, let me just put it like that. That doesn't mean invincible, but they're pretty powerful, and Romania used to be powerful, and this is sort of where it is right now.
Yeah. All right. That
Oh,
being said, we will take a break and we will come back to talk about Love is Blind UK.
they say time waits for no one, and neither should payday. To keep your money moving in the direction of your dreams, get Earn In. Earn In is an app that gives you access to your pay as you work, up to $100 per day or up to $750 per pay period. Just download the EarnIn app and verify your paycheck. Then access up to $100 a day as you work and leave an optional tip. Any money you access plus tips are automatically repaid from your next paycheck. You can use the money you get from EarnIn to make sure you have your spending money ready for your fun spring break trips to the beach.
Make EarnIn a part of your financial routine and join EarnIn's over 3.5 million customers who say things like, when I think about EarnIn, I think about financial stability and security. It gives me a lot of peace of mind. Download EarnIn today. That's spelled EARNIN in the Google Play or Apple App Store. When you download the EarnIn app, type in Alto Call on the podcast because when you sign up, it'll really help the show. That's Alto Call on the podcast. Subject to available earnings, location, daily max, and pay period max. See earnin.com/TOS for details. EarnIn is a financial technology company, not a bank. Bank products are issued by Evolve Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
Armoire makes getting dressed easy. With a clothing rental membership from Armoire, build the perfect wardrobe with brands that are high quality, unique, and recommended just for you. All you have to do is take a 5-minute style quiz and select items from your dynamic personalized closet. The styles show up at your door in as little as 2 days. Then, when you're ready for new clothes, just swap them out for more new to you styles. I had a birthday party last week, and Armoire came through with a dress that none of my friends had seen before.
Guys, did we also mention that the style quiz was so easy? It really was 5 minutes, and you can find all the styles that you're looking for. Also, it is women founded and women led. They even spotlight women owned designers on their website. Right now, our listeners can give Amore a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit amore.style/autocallmaths. That is amore.style, ARMOIRE dot style slash ALTARCALLMAFS to get up to 50% off your first month and never worry about what to wear again. Try Amore today. Whether you're going through menopause, perimenopause, or just hate that vicious week before your period when you have those terrible cravings and can't seem to find comfort in your body, then you have to try Hormone Harmony. Happy Mammoth, the company that created Hormone Harmony, is dedicated to making women's lives easier by helping you maintain optimal hormone levels. That means using only science backed ingredients that have been proven to work for women. They make no compromise when it comes to quality, and it shows. Hormone Harmony contains herbal extracts called adaptogens that help the body adapt to any stressors, which includes chaotic hormonal changes that happen naturally throughout a woman's life. With over 17,000 reviews, join the women who keep mentioning how the biggest benefit of taking Hormone Harmony is feeling like themselves again. For a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com by using the code AltoCallMaths at checkout. That's ALTARCALLMAFS. And we are back. So, Aid, first thoughts on Love is Blind UK.
Love is like I said at the top of the show, the Love is Blind concept is perfect. No notes. A plus. I enjoyed Love
um,
is Blind UK greatly. For some of the unique Britishness of it, like good God, that island and how many accents they can produce. Um, but yeah, I thought it was really good. What did you think?
my expectations were quite low that I am pleasantly surprised. Again, I always confuse whether it's things I tell you off air or when we're recording, but I had low expectations for Love is Blind UK because I'm not particularly a huge fan of how the UK does reality shows. Love Island being the exception, but even that is going down the drain a little bit. But I am pleasantly surprised. There is enough drama, there is enough love, and it has the novelty of it being a first season. And I'm also like inundated with a lot of Love is Blind because I don't know how Netflix decided they were going to give us Love is Blind Mexico a week before and they bring out new episodes a day apart. One on Wednesday, one on Thursday. And I am deep into Love is Blind Mexico, which I am truly enjoying. And I think for now, Mexico ranks second for me. I have the USA at the top. I don't know why, but it just always will be. It's kind of like having I don't care how bad or quote unquote bad Atlanta is. Atlanta will always be top of the franchise for me. So Love is Blind USA will always be at the top for me. And I think Mexico is second now for me. And then Brazil and then UK and then Sweden is last for me. It was just there. Okay. The thing with Mexico that I really liked was I told Aid this there was a lady who did the reveal and she met her groom and she's having her confessional. She's still in her reveal dress. She's saying how, oh, I don't really think it's there. His look, he looks like a bad boy. He does this. And in the middle of her speaking, the producer tells her, if you feel that way and there's no connection, you cannot continue on this journey. And she's looking at them dumbfounded, and that was it. They did not make it to the honeymoon, and I was so tripped out by that, and I found that so hilarious. I mean, there were later developments, but at the time, it was I appreciated that. Like, you're not gonna come in here and try to make a name for yourself if you don't like him.
So, because I have not paid any attention at all to Love is Blind Mexico, I just want to be clear. They're on the same schedule. Like, we've
Yeah.
only had 4 episodes of Love is Blind UK, and we've only had 4 episodes of Love is Blind Mexico.
No, I'm sorry. They premiered a week before, so they're a week ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have 2 weeks worth, so 8. So we have 4 more left because I think it's a total of 11 episodes. So basically, on Wednesday, I watch UK, and then on Thursday, I watch Mexico. So it's like 8 episodes of Love is Blind. It's a treat. But yeah, so I enjoyed UK. That being said, the hosts, they continued everything. It's like a married couple. Remember, all of them have married couple hosts except Sweden. They have one lady. that is the host. Did the host give you Jesse Williams vibe? Jesse Williams being the guy from Grey's Anatomy. I don't know what else you would know him from.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
actually thought of him, and I was like, this is how I'm like, oh, it gave me Jesse Williams guy vibes. I'm like, oh, you're very ethnically ambiguous.
Yes. Yes. I was like, are you a water? But yeah, he was like, yes. Yes, absolutely. And Emma and Matt Willis are their names. I was going to check it because I'm not familiar with them. I actually was going to check what they are known for, but they
I
didn't
know
do
that she
much.
used to be on EastEnders.
Everybody's been. I didn't know that, but I feel like every actor has been on there. Okay.
My like for you for the part of the audience who is like, what is EastEnders? It's a soap opera, but soap operas in the UK are so different than the US. They're on like 3 times a week. Everybody, I don't know if this is true to this day, but when I grew up in England and even after I left, like everybody watches EastEnders. Like male, female, young, old, it's on in prime time. Everybody watches it.
Okay.
I don't know if that was the case. That's still the case to this day.
I kind of feel like streaming has changed everything for everyone now. But I'm looking it up and it looks like she's the host. She was a host for Big Brother UK. So I guess they have experience in being a host. But honestly, I don't feel like I was thinking about this, Aid. I don't feel like they did much. Like I feel like we see more of the Lachey's than we see of them, but I don't know if I'm recalling differently.
No, I mean, because I'm gonna say no because in the first 4 episodes they just do the intro and they're out, and then they do like an intro of the honeymoon. I feel like that's pretty consistent with what Nick and Vanessa do.
Yeah, in practicality, yes, you are right, but I just somehow feel like I see them more. Unless yeah, I don't know. My brain is playing tricks on me. But okay.
So we begin with the same thing every time. They all gather in the so-called living quarters that are not a place that anybody could actually live. And the hosts are there and they have a little discussion about why they're there. Dating apps suck. I mean, no one has said anything original. And either, in America or in England, apparently it's the same thing. I'm tired of the dating apps. That's why I'm here. Men and women all say the same thing. I'm looking for a deep connection. And then we gets down to business.
I don't know if I mentioned before, but the last season of Brazil was Second Chances. So it was a whole bunch of people that had been engaged. A whole bunch of people that had been engaged, been married, lived with a person, had kids, but it did not stop the tomfoolery. So wisdom does not come with age. So yeah.
I think the other point there could be like maybe that's why you're not with your first partner. Maybe you should move.
It could be. Yeah.
So we get started with Freddie and Catherine.
Do you want to know what
Everybody,
I wrote down when I saw Freddie? I'm like,
what?
Freddie's very handsome.
That's funny because I was like, once Freddie also said that he was from Birmingham. Is Freddie from
Yeah.
Birmingham? I was like, Peaky Blinders. Um, he could totally be on Peaky Blinders, because he is that attractive. Catherine. So he is a funeral director. And when he spoke about his work, I was like, "Oh, I have respect for this man." He's like, I'm everybody. Everybody's someone's family member. I'm just here to help people. I mean, because funeral directors, I feel like probably most of them fall into the Freddie category, but it is a type of industry which probably has some people who are a little bit more disrespectful about it. I don't think Freddie's one of
Sorry,
them.
what is the Freddie category?
Oh, like rude or not rude. I don't know how to describe it. Like not how do I put it? Like I don't imagine that I'm sorry. How I imagine I probably thought Phaedra was going to be when she decided to become a funeral director.
Which is what? Sorry, I don't mean to, but I don't know what you're referring to.
Not with the proper reverence for the profession, okay?
Got it. Okay, because I'm like, I don't know where we're headed with this. Okay, got it. So Freddie really enjoys what he does,
And
is
and
what you're
has a
saying,
reverence
right?
for it. And has a
Okay,
reverence for it. Yeah.
If you don't, you wouldn't. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, got it, got it, got it.
And also, it is strange though having to be like, "What's your job?" I'm a funeral director. um, but we watch Freddie do that with a whole bunch of people. Um, Other facts
He,
about Freddie: he and Catherine, who is the first person we see him sort of like talk to for a while, they bond over the fact that they go to the gym twice a day, and that his brother has Down syndrome, and she's like, "I teach Down syndrome kids how to swim." Where they somewhat lost me was when they bonded over the fact that both their grandparents are named Mary and Bill.
why did they lose you on that?
You people are English. Half the people in the country are called William. Half the women in the country are called Mary. Especially like what, 50, 60 years ago? 70 years ago when your grandparents were born? Are you
Yeah, but
kidding
if
me?
he had matched with Maria, it wouldn't have been the case.
Okay,
It could have been anybody else. I think
okay.
it was cool. I don't necessarily believe in signs, but I thought it was cute. And I don't even like shit like that.
When we sort of get to who they are as people and they talk more and more, we learn that Catherine is adopted and it has an effect on her. Um, she talked about how it has an effect on her, but she didn't really like tell us exactly what that is. Not that she needed to. I'm assuming we're going to find out more later, or maybe we won't.
She did say how it affected her, but maybe either editing cut it out and she didn't go in depth, but she was just saying like how she didn't feel she didn't know who she was or she didn't know how she was and she was bullied for it and she seemed she's not like old, so I'm very surprised that people still bully people, I guess, for being adopted.
You know what I did wonder? I wondered if her adoptive parents are a different ethnicity than her.
Oh, that's usually rare. Why?
Oh, just because the thing about, I mean, what I was like, how are people knowing? There's a lot of questions there, and she doesn't have to tell
Yeah.
us all of this, but I just
Yeah.
some of the things she said about the ramifications of being adopted, more like you said, that like being bullied or something. I was like, well, how did people know, or was it
Yeah.
within your own family? Like, oh, you're the adopted one. Like, how did that
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah. It would have been nice if we got more details or if not, but yeah, I'm with you on that.
So Catherine's other person who she is feeling a connection with here and there is Ollie. So they Ollie tells us that he enjoys kick well, he tells us, he tells her, we just happen to be there. Um that he enjoys kickboxing. Ollie also says that he has been told that he looks like Craig David. And my first thought was, don't get Megan Foxed.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong. I will give
He's
him
not
that.
wrong because he looks like present day Craig David. Because present day Craig David is one of those people who looks his age. So like they don't look exactly like alike, but you see them and you're like, okay, I can see why people say that. Yeah.
So Catherine and Ollie, honestly, Tame, do you have any? I don't remember what they talked about except for the clubs.
Oh, they talked about working out also, and they were bonding and all these things. Eventually, some part of their conversation, he asked what she did for her birthday, and she mentioned some club that she went to, and immediately Ollie's judging her. I am not, listen, everybody's entitled to their preferences of what they like or don't, but I'm just not a fan of when these men judge women in Love is Blind because we had something like this in I want to say it was Sweden or somebody. Somebody said something about being their sexuality, and he was just like, "Oh, that's not what a wife would do," or something like that. Even though he just said that he was sexual. So if she did that for her birthday and she went to the club or whatever, while he tried to save face, you could clearly see that he was judging her about that. And I'm like, she doesn't do it all the time. She did it for her birthday, and even if she did, why would you judge her for that?
It
I didn't
also
like that.
seemed like he was like, these specific clubs are where this type of person goes. I was like, so the
Yeah.
only okay, but you know about these clubs. You apparently know about the people at these clubs. How do you know? Probably because you've been to these clubs. So why is it a problem that she went to the club? Anyways, so Ollie's other person who he connects with is Demi. Demi's from London. She talks about how she's always kind of been stuck as one of the boys. She's athletic, she plays soccer, football, and and honestly, from the first 5 minutes she was talking to Ollie, I was like, I feel like she's going into the friend zone. She calls him a cheeky chap, which made me laugh. I should have created a list of just the phrases that people said that I was like, you're so British. Um, but then Ollie talks about how friendship is a solid foundation for a relationship. So I guess my seeing him being friend zoned was what he considered good.
I liked Demi, but I'm with you on the whole friend thing. Love is Blind UK, I roped my husband to watch with me, and my husband said that Demi has a sadness around her. He was just like, every time you see her, she just has this sadness. And this was before her vulnerable moment with whatever. And I was just looking at it and I was just like, I think I can see it. And I just hope she doesn't self sabotage on the
Is it
show.
sadness or is it insecurity?
Um, Eventually we find out it was insecurity, but at the time when it just started, we didn't know anything about her. So at that point, that was what he said. It was like it was a sadness. So yeah, but there was this whole thing where Catherine was obsessed with Ollie, and she made a comment like, "I'm gonna be pissed if there are other people who like him and they don't tell me." Why does she think that she's entitled to them telling her that they like him?
I don't know. I feel like the people who play it close to the vest, it is a risk and it is a gamble, but it's probably a better option.
It is. Like, you basically should be running your race, and whatever happens at the end happens. Like, you don't benefit sabotaging or doing all that stuff. Like, just keep it to yourself. Like, what are you exchanging stories for? How did that work out for Lydia and I forget the other girl's name with Uche? Like, you don't need to change stories. What you don't know won't kill you. Just keep it to yourself. But I just thought she was really entitled when she says they have to tell her what it was.
So that in the women's quarters, that turns into honestly one of my favorite parts of these first four episodes, which is where Demi's like, yeah, me and Catherine, we're really good friends. Like I really, really like her. We're good friends. But she's not taking Ollie from me. And then for Ollie's birthday, for reasons I cannot understand, Catherine does nothing, and Demi like makes him a handwritten card, and they fill the thing with balloons, and it's just she went all out, and Catherine did nothing. And I was like, I guess Catherine had already decided Ollie wasn't for her by then, because why would she do nothing and see Demi doing everything?
I know the whole time Demi was doing that, I was like, hide it. Don't tell her. Don't remind her that it's his birthday because you don't know who's going to talk to who first, and then she's going to steal your thunder. But when they were in their quote unquote living quarters, that's when I realized that the UK doesn't have a lot of people, and you could correct me if I'm wrong. I actually paused and counted. There are only 13 people. That's less than the usual, right?
Did you mean at that time in the living quarters, or even during the
Nope.
opening scene?
Total. Yeah.
Oh, they
There was
okay.
just less people. It was 13 people, and was when I counted. But I was like, wait, we usually have more than that, right? But it's also significantly smaller, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, there's got to be more people in the UK than there are in Sweden. So, how many did they have?
I didn't count. It didn't seem so small, so I just didn't bother.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay. So, next is Sabrina and Steven. I'm going to skip ahead a little and say that Sabrina and Steven are the couple that we see getting engaged first, which, going back to the first season, this is the couple that we're here to root for, people. Our signal has been given. It did not seem that way when they first started talking. Like they seemed good, but I was actually kind of surprised when they were identified as the golden couple. But background on Sabrina and Steven: Sabrina lives in Belfast, has a great accent. It's only an accent because I'm American, I know. Steven is a gym owner. He's also from Birmingham, but I guess he lives in London. A lot of the people, not a lot, but there are quite a few who do not live in London, but sort of everybody is willing to move to London. So they talk about how they both have their meditation and gratitude journals. They both wear jewelry for deceased grandparents. He has a ring from when his grandpa died when he was 8 years old, and he's like, I've just moved it from finger to finger. Right now, it's on like his pinky, but he's like I just keep on moving it, and I always wear it. And then her grandmother died pretty recently, and she has a bracelet, so they bond over that. Everything seems to be going fine until they sort of hit a little stumble with kids. She's pretty ambivalent and he wants them. So, like the grown up, mature people they are, they come back and she's like, I'm not birthing them, but I'll do surrogacy or adoption. And he's like, I'm in. And I think that's more evidence of how much they really like each other. Yeah.
Well, I was confused by that whole thing. I just thought that was a whole turnaround. I didn't understand what the issue was in the beginning. I thought she said she didn't want kids. Like her words were not, I don't want to birth kids. He just says, I don't feel, she said, I don't feel the urge to have children. And then so when they had the conversation and they were like, we can adopt and have, or surrogacy, which that's a whole different thing. Because the way people say that around, it's not cheap to
It's
get a
not cheap and it's
surrogate.
not easy.
Yeah, and everyone just throws it around like it's some easy thing to do or whatever. You own a gym, and I forget what Sabrina does. So I don't know about that. So what was the issue in general? You wanted kids, but you didn't want to carry them, or you didn't want kids? Because my understanding was like she's like, yeah, I don't want to have kids, and then now you suddenly want to have kids in a day. So that was a little confusing to me. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe it was what she said. I heard ambivalence about kids. Like, it's not something that I'm dying to do. My life will, I don't consider my life incomplete without children.
Yeah, but for the solution to be surrogacy or adoption,
You're right. That
that
is weird.
that's different. Like, and it wasn't the whole. Like, if you wanted kids again down in the future, you could just say, "Oh, I just don't want them now." Oh, I just don't want them. So, but it wasn't clear. Okay, so because of the solution, I just thought the problem was she didn't want to carry kids, but that was not what she said. So again, maybe it's editing, maybe it's creating tension. I don't know, but that turnaround, that solution, that was so quick, and that was, yeah, confusing.
Mind you, up until now, they've been like so happy. And then when they have the resolution conversation about the kids, he goes back. He's been a little bit down because of this issue, but he goes back to the men's living quarters on cloud nine because he's basically like, she was perfect except for this one thing. And look, we solved it. I don't know if they solved
Yeah.
it, but they think they solved it.
I mean, the one thing is, I am glad that he wasn't like, I don't want to miss out on you, so no, I'm gonna just go without kids or whatever, because that's never like a good idea. So I'm kind of glad, like, he kind of stood his ground, like, no, this is something I've always wanted. And she also was, well, I don't know if she stood her ground, but she was clear about what she could do, I guess. So, yeah.
I, I know that, I don't know. I don't know what people would say about this, but I'm always of the opinion that sometimes if you really, really want to be with a person, you literally will figure it out.
Hmm,
And I
that
think
is
that's what
true.
happened with them. I think they really, really wanted to be with each other, and they're like, we will figure this out.
I agree. I think not for everything. The only difference is they don't know each other.
There's that.
That is really like, yeah, like I have nothing to lose. 2 days ago, I didn't know who you were, so I'm not going to give up everything I wanted. But yeah, that's the only caveat in this situation.
All right, so next up is Sam and Jasmine. I'm gonna tell you right now that there's something about Jasmine I don't like. I don't know what it is. Even though, the thing is, there's a lot of things that Jasmine does that I do like, but her herself, I'm like, I don't know about you.
We'll go back to it, but how you feel about Jasmine is how I feel about Kat.
Okay, that
But
makes sense to
I
me.
I'm okay with Jasmine because she could smell the bullshit on Sam, and I respect that. But we'll get there. Go ahead.
And that's what I meant by I respect the things she does because she tried to
Yeah.
warn Nicole. Um,
Yeah.
so Jasmine and Sam, I don't know, they talk about beauty is skin deep and they really like each other. I honestly can't remember a word they said. They just liked each other. Then Sam is talking to Nicole. This is one of those Love is Blind, like lots of people, because we've got Sam and Jasmine, we've got Sam and Nicole, and we have Benaya and Nicole.
Yeah.
And then we have Jasmine and Bobby. So
Yes. Yeah. I feel like we need to give a little background on Sam. Now, Sam is the person like we can universally say we don't like, right?
I think we could say that, yeah. And
Okay. Because
he does have a thing where this man, there's something shitty about him. He's not overtly shitty though, which makes it a little bit harder.
hmm,
There's like one or two red flags here or there, but he's not a walking red flag. Sometimes he actually says things that are like, "Oh, you might not be a terrible person."
no, I disagree. Sam is a walking red flag. Sam is a heaping steam of insecurity. He's one of those people, how do you describe it? You know what new money is like? Like when you just come into new money and you're not acting like you've had money before, but everybody else can tell except you. That is Sam. Sam thinks that he's done his nose job. He's done whatever it is that he thinks he's fit now. He's a person who thought he was not cute when he was younger, and now he's now a swan. He's not an ugly duckling anymore, according to him. And he's still not fixed the inside, so they're not matching up together. Everything he says sounds false. Everything he says sounds like he read it up and he practiced it. It came from a movie, it came from a song lyric. Nothing he says is an original thought because he has not taken time to develop a personality. He just thought, like, I'm going to look good on the outside. That's what society expects of me, and that's all I need to do. So, Jasmine clocking that he's not genuine, even me as a viewer, everything he said, nothing came out as this is from your heart. Everything came out as desperate. And that's my spiel on Sam.
Okay. For a little while, Sam and Jasmine click, but Sam also has a thing going with Nicole. Basically, they both do yoga. I can't remember anything else they had in common. Do they
Yeah.
also gratitude journal? Because there was a lot of gratitude journaling on the show. Um,
I
Nicole also, I think, has a thing with Benaya. Benaya is like a reserved guy. He doesn't have a permanent home. See, it's weird because he said that he like it sounded like he did house sitting, like he goes from place to place house sitting for people. But he also
mhm.
seems to have some other freelance job. He has long hair. It made me think of Orion,
Okay. Does every long haired person remind you of Orion?
probably. Um,
Ew. That should not be a long hair benchmark. Change it.
he lives the life of a nomad, and Nicole, I think, in their initial sort of conversation, is really like that's what I aspire to. I haven't gotten there yet, but I would love to live this like free, off the beaten path, or I don't know if off the beaten path is right, but I would probably say non corporate, like that kind of life.
Yeah, where I'm thinking, like, oh my God, this guy's not stable. Nicole sees it as admirable. So I think Off the Beating Path is right. It's just something that she's always wanted to do, but she's never got the chance or courage to do. So she appreciates that about him.
Um, yeah. So Jasmine, I would say earlier on, decides that she's not a fan of Sam because she ends up with Bobby. He's from a place called Stoke on Trent. I just love these things that are just very British. He's a cruise ship travel guide or shopping guide. I didn't really get it and I didn't know it was a job. But such is life. You just learn about all these jobs you never heard for.
My husband asked me what that meant because what is it? He's a luxury sales associate on a cruise ship. And I was like, he works at a gift shop that they sell designer stuff. That is my interpretation. You can't tell me nothing. And I'm not laughing at the job. I'm just laughing at the different names that we come up with that is so complicated. Because I'm like, what is that? Luxury sale. It was so long. And again, I remember something a manager told me at one of my jobs. It was like, the longer the qualifier, the more likely it's like not believable, whatever it is. So,
But,
ah,
but all that aside, Bobby is very attractive. Also, probably shouldn't say this, but I do think it's just a very I don't know if British is the right word because we have plenty of it here in the United States. Ethnically ambiguous, man. I'm like, he could be Middle Eastern, he could be like a mix of something. But I kept on looking at Bobby trying to figure out his ethnicity or something, which was probably not great of me, but that's what I was doing.
that is what I was saying. I couldn't actually even tell if he was Ethiopian or not, or if he was just biracial. There's a running joke on Love Island. They call them the mixed race boxhead because we have them every season and they come in, and Bobby kind of fits that a little bit. And 99% of the time, they're quote unquote football players, soccer, whichever one you want to call it. But he's not. He's a luxury sales associate on a ship or something. Um, yeah, I mean, we could go straight into like Sam when she breaks it up with. I mean, sorry, when Jasmine breaks up with Sam, and I've never seen anyone's ego so deflated. And this was a moment that we knew that Sam was just here to win, not because he wanted to actually like someone. I don't know if his ways have been working outside, but I think he came on Love is Blind because he felt he was going to be guaranteed a woman saying yes to him. And maybe he's faced a lot of rejection because I don't think he took Jasmine's breakup very well.
No, he did not.
Yeah. And he probably thought he was doing everything right and she still didn't appreciate it. I will say this, Jasmine absolutely made the right call, but her saying like, I'm so guarded, like I don't want to be hurt. I don't want you guys know how I feel. Do not come on these shows if that's how you feel and it's going to take you a while. You're here to take a risk. If you are going to take a risk, just go all in on that. So I wish she was just clear with him like, part of why I'm with you is like I don't think it's genuine. She did say that, but it she had all these other things too. And then he got so upset and was like, "What else do I have to do? What do you need from me?" And that's where many parts of the desperation also came out. He almost felt like he wanted to fall on his knees and beg her, "Please just take me."
So yes, yeah, the breakups were that was the first that was the first breakup, and it wasn't good. It didn't make Bobby look any better. But I will say that in all the breaks up on Love Is Blind, no one ever comes out looking better. I don't think people handle it very well ever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so a couple that kind of like makes an appearance towards the end, and it was actually another what you call it triangle. And it's I think what I found interesting is while there are lots of triangles on Love Is Blind UK, maybe it's because there were only 13 people. Only one of the triangle people got left with nobody at the end, and that was Natasha because she was part of the Maria and Tom triangle. And at one point, I thought that it was looking good for Natasha, and then out of nowhere, Maria just snuck in there. Um,
Mm-hmm.
um, Tom is 38, which is a little bit, and Maria is 30, which not a huge difference. But at one point, she does reference like, "Oh, I would have never given him a chance because he's a little bit older."
Mm-hmm.
Um, They talk about how his dad he said did a runner. This is another uniquely British phrase. Like he had lived with him for a whole year, then he went on a vacation with his mom and he came back and his dad had moved out of the house and left. Whenever
Hey,
someone does that,
that shook me to the core. I couldn't believe it.
same. I was like, I think the craziest thing is that's not the first time I've heard of a parent doing that. And each time I'm like, I do not understand. You literally moved out of your house to get away from your child?
Only men, only men. Women don't get the chance. I mean, I'm not saying women don't do it, but women don't get the chance most of the time. Like, oh, it's too much. I can't do it. They have to make it work. They have to figure shit out. But a man just decides, you know what? He's going to be with his mom on vacation. I'm sick of being a dad and I'm just going to leave. That's insane and that is so evil.
Evil. Her sad thing, which was very sad, was that her dad died during COVID, and he was sick, and he had gone to Morocco to say goodbye to some family members. Next thing you know, COVID happens. He can't leave Morocco. She can't go into Morocco, and he ends up dying, and she didn't get a chance to see him, which was really, really sad.
That's really sad.
Meanwhile, the Tom and Maria and Natasha thing almost happened in like a vacuum. Like there was no other relations with other people at the show. It was weird. Um, but anyway, so Tom and Natasha, what they have in common is that they both go to the cinema alone. And Natasha lost 70 pounds. I'm sorry, Natasha lost 5 stone. I looked up what 5 stone was because they're British. 70 pounds, y'all. That's a lot of weight. Um, yeah, she tells
Yeah.
us that. She doesn't tell him that as part of her like this is why I'm dating and I deserve love and yeah.
Yeah, that's another person who I'm not sure the confidence is all there. And it's kind of crazy. It's been very interesting to know how much you can tell through the walls because I don't know if he could pick up on that because part of his reason for breaking up with her was that, he was getting friend zoned, that they could be great friends. There was something there, but it just seemed like it was a friendship type thing and he doesn't know if it could develop into a romantic thing.
That's what he says.
So I
Um
was I was glad that he picked Maria. I will not lie, I was hesitant. I've said this before in the Love is Blind franchises. I get nervous when it's a person that's not the typical stereotypical quote skinny person because you just never know how anyone is going to react and I just don't want anyone to feel any type of way because of someone's, however you want to call it, preference or shallowness. So but I thought they had good rapport and he laughed a lot. I really like Tom, is also something I want to say. I feel like Tom was very intentional. I don't feel like he was torn for the sake of being torn or being indecisive or something like that. He was actually just trying to make the best choice for himself and he talked us through like most of his like his thought process. And I'm not going to give credit to just Tom because I do think that I feel the same way about Ollie also. So I
mhm.
don't want to paint a sweeping brush, but I think the men were intentional, and I don't know if that's the advantage of having less people. You're just focused on just less people.
You said Ollie was intentional, but well, Catherine claimed that she was stepping away from Ollie for Demi's sake. Then she followed up with, "Well, my heart is also saying Freddie over Ollie." So yeah, because I feel like Catherine broke up with Ollie, and then Ollie came back to the thing and was like, "I broke up with her," and I was like, "I don't think that's what happened."
I missed that part of him saying that he broke up with her. But I was gonna ask you, like, do you think Kat backing off Ollie was selfless? Again,
No.
I don't trust Kat. She just gives me shady vibes. I don't have proof yet, but I did not like when she said, I feel like she had like a Jess moment in the confessional when she said that she just knows that if he picks Demi, it's not going to work on the outside. And she's not going to say why because her mouth puts her in trouble. And my first thought is again because maybe Demi is not skinny. That was my thought. But I don't know if anybody else read it that way. Because why
I
else would she say why it won't work on the outside?
I think it's always interesting when they have that perspective when you haven't met one half of the equation. Like you've talked to them, you feel like you know them, but you've never seen them outside this place. So why would you think it wouldn't work on the outside? Maybe if there was something about Demi, but it's like you can't say that based on Ollie because you've never seen him. You've never seen him, literally.
Yeah, but she's basing it on she's seen Demi. But they talked about working out and all that stuff or whatever. So in her mind, she might think that that's why it wouldn't work. And I only say this because there's a crossover also in Love is Blind Mexico where there's someone who's a curvy model. That's actually what she does. And when all the couples met each other for the first time and they're dishing and asking each other, who do you think is not going to work? They mentioned the couple with the guy and the curvy model, the plus size. Well, I'm saying curvy model because that's the translation, but the plus size model. And they're all saying like, oh, it's not going to work because typically he doesn't go for that kind of girl and it's not going to. And I'm like, how can you reduce this girl to just her size and that's why it's not going to work? Like as if she has nothing else going for her. And then someone, when he meets the friends and family, the friend says, sometimes it's not really about looks. Like you can put looks aside even if they don't look. So, I just I see all those trends and it's just like, it's disheartening that in 2024 people still kind of have this kind of thoughts because honestly when Jess made that comment in Love is Blind USA regarding Chelsea, to me that's kind of like what you like, you just think that you're hotter like whichever lens you're using or anything, and I don't know who decides who's hotter or who's not, and I just don't like that kind of thing. Like how can you know that it, like to your point, how can you know it's not going to work out? So to me that's why I think it's based on the physical of what you've seen. The only person you've seen is Demi, but you haven't seen Ollie. You don't know Ollie like that outside. So how do you know? What are you basing it off of? And why wouldn't you say it? Why would it put you in trouble?
I'm so well, I wouldn't say I'm naive, but I think I gave her the benefit of the doubt that it was personality based and not looks based. Um,
That is fair. But if Ollie finds her personality attractive to the point where you're in a triangle, why do you think that's why I didn't think maybe personality based? But that is fair because, as we later find out, it seems like Demi isn't particularly like the most confident, I guess. So that's fair.
but back to sort of your point, I always find the discussion skinnier is better to be just very funny. It's a preference. I'm
Yes.
sorry. There is a version that's too thin, right? Like for different folks. So I just don't, it's not that I am confused about like what is generally considered attractive, but it's
Yeah.
like even on this show, the curvy people are literally just that.
Yeah.
Curvy. Not plus
Yeah.
size. Curvy.
Yeah. But like, most like for most things that we say on this show, it's still a reality show, could be speculation. Who knows what are in these people's minds? No one knows. But I am with you that I don't think Kat backed out because she was being selfless. I think she could feel that he was leaning towards Demi. Yeah, there it
Nicole
is
is
again.
in a triangle with Sam and Benaya, and Benaya makes the mistake, and I'm going to call it a mistake, of not being committed enough. He's like, well, I'm not sure if I'm ready for marriage. And I'm
Why are
like,
you here?
exactly.
What did you come? What did you? This is, he's probably like an Amelia and Bennett. Oh, it'll be a fun ride. Let's just see where this takes me to, which is also annoying. Some people are coming here to find the love of their lives.
And I feel like because he did that, I mean, there's more to the story. So then um, Benaya overhears Sam in the living quarters talking about how Nicole said something that may imply that he may not be able to pick her up. And Sam is proper freaking out. That was a British thing to say, by the way. Proper freaking out about whether or not she's too heavy to lift. Benaya is listening to this and is horrified.
For
He,
context,
so go ahead.
So for context, what happened was they were having Sam saying all these disingenuous things. And might I add, Nicole has two terrible choices. I'm just gonna say it. Yes, one is better, but that's just because Sam is so terrible. So we would mostly all pick Benaya, but those are two terrible choices, and I wanted better for Nicole. And also, Nicole is the only black person that is moving on in the experiment. We did see other black women in there, but it looks like they didn't move forward with the experiment. So it's unfortunate that these are her choices, and both men are white. And I think they really stood on the rules and didn't share anything about themselves. And then I did wonder, I was going to ask none of this. Well, I don't know if you can tell the race by how they speak. I don't know. With a British accent? Is this offensive?
No, it's a thought I've had too. But you know my rule, and I mean this applies to black people I think almost everywhere, or maybe this is just a lens that I have. You cannot talk to black people in a western country and they somehow explain their life experience and them being black does not come up.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, but we have there has been some situations where I don't know. I don't know if we've ever had a situation where you couldn't tell, but I just didn't know to what extent they did or didn't know or what they talked about because yeah, I was sorry providing context before I deviated. What happened was he was like, "I can't wait to hold you. I can't wait to squeeze you. I can't wait to pick you up." And Nicole, for some reason, is like, "Well, you might not be able to." Then he's like, "What? Sorry, what'd you say?" And she's like, "No, nothing. Never mind." And then he moves on, but when he goes back to the living quarters, he's telling the other guys, like, she said something funny, like, oh, I might not be able to pick her up and all that. And he's worrying about that. And that's where Benaiah overhears that conversation and he's worried um, about Nicole.
So he spends a lot of time, Benaiah that is, hemming and hawing about whether or not to say anything to her. Finally comes to the conclusion that he should. So he tells her, well, there were two parts to that conversation. Benaiah decided to pick up his speed a little, probably because he realized he might lose. And I think the competition from Sam made him realize, wait, I do actually like her, and I really don't like Sam, and I don't want her to go with Sam. So he finally tells her, like, oh, I'm serious when he wasn't before. And by the way, like Sam, I don't know about his intentions. In addition to that, Jasmine also told Nicole that he's not great. He has issues. We have a big like cliffhanger about who's Nicole gonna pick, and she picks Sam.
I don't even know why she picked Sam because I thought she had a better connection with Benaiah. They were on the same page there. And I just want to give a shout out to Jasmine because I appreciated how she handled that conversation. She was very emphatic on, for me, it did not work. For me, I don't think he was being genuine. But you do what you think is best. You know what, I think she said something like, your heart can lead you wrong. And I was like, yes, it can. But okay. And for those who don't know, like Nicole reminded us many times, she's been married before and she doesn't want to make a mistake again. I think Benaiah, do you think Benaiah telling Nicole was the right thing to do?
You know what? It was probably the right thing to do. But the problem with Love is Blind is that doesn't just because you do the right thing doesn't mean you get the outcome that you want.
Okay. So he did the right thing because he was like, regardless of what you choose, I just think you should know this because I care about you. I don't like the way he delivered it. I feel like he said the wrong thing. He should have been specific. And again, I chalked this down to editing because what he told her was that a bunch of us think that he's not here for genuine reasons or the right reasons and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if more things happen, but I think he should have been very specific about, hey, it looks like there was a conversation about something being picked up and not being able to pick up because that she'll remember and she'll know it's true and it's not like some kind of like sabotage so I can get ahead or whatever because how else would he know about the conversation? So I wish he had just been specific about that. And for someone who cares about you, he shouldn't worry whether or not he can pick you up or agonizing over that and all that. Because Benaiah was distressed over whether he should or not. And he even told Nicole, like, I please don't think of this as sabotage. I'm not saying this to get ahead. I'm saying this to be genuine. And he had a conversation with Steven, who encouraged him and told him that he should tell her about it.
Can we shout out Stephen and Aaron as the advisory sounding board people who had no person of their own?
Steven had Sabrina.
Oh, Steven had Sabrina, but Aaron did not. And I kept on seeing Aaron being like a listening ear to multiple guys in the house. And I was like, but he don't have anybody.
Well, that happens every season. There's someone who's just always the listening ear because they don't have anything to go.
Okay,
Okay.
so basically everybody's made their choice. It's time for proposals.
All right. So it's the big reveal. And the couples that we have, Steven and Sabrina, I will say this. I love you in 3 days is wild. A proposal in 3 days is even wilder. But like Eight said, they're the golden couple. And it is what it is. They meet each other. They
Wait,
like.
what
Oh,
makes
go
you
ahead.
think it's 3 days? Oh, you mean like Lauren and Cameron, how they said I love you in 3 days?
No, Steven and Sabrina, because I think it was like I can't remember why it was day three, but I think it was very early on. You know, it was very early on because he was like, I didn't think I was gonna do this so soon. So I don't know. You're right. I have no proof. They were just the first and we don't know the order. And every season I want to ask you, how does this work? Because they propose, but they're still in the living quarters. I can't ever remember how this works.
They were particularly egregious about it this time. Everybody's doing proposals within the same day, maybe 2 days, but everybody is doing proposals on the same day. And you will notice what Steven wears to the proposal. We see him congratulating multiple men in that same outfit because it all happens
Ah,
on the same day. But when they cut it and edit it, they act like some people went first. No, 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 no.
oh.
They're in there for 2 weeks and they do proposals on the same day.
Okay, I'm gonna remember this now. Okay, okay, got it. Um, I think it went okay. There was nothing particularly that stood out. If I can say this, I do think. I mean, I have different thoughts on all the reveals, but generally, I think all the reveals were awkward.
There were some that were more awkward than others. For instance,
Yes.
Steven and Sabrina were probably the least awkward, which is why they're the golden couple.
Yeah.
Um,
So,
Maria and Tom and the lipstick, my god.
so yeah, we'll get there. So, did you have anything on Steven and Sabrina again after the reveal?
It was just very funny in the proposal how I'm like, who encourages you to give this whole speech before you give your answer? Because she gives this whole speech before she gets out a yes, and my poor man was stressing. He was
Oh.
like, why don't you start with the yes? Um, and then on the second proposal, he's like, okay, this time say yes, like quickly. And she's like, okay, okay, I got it, yes.
Then we have Jasmine and Bobby. Again, I thought it was awkward, but they both thought they were cute. You guys, I always have heart palpitations when it comes to the reveals because it's the same thing like maps, like coming down the altar. I just want them to think that the other is attractive. And Jasmine thought he was cute, and Bobby thought she was proper hot. And I thought Bobby was short, but he's taller than Jasmine in heels. So I'm like, yay, this is great.
Okay. I have no thoughts on Jasmine and Bobby meeting each other. I don't remember.
Um, then we have Catherine and Freddie. They're both crying. They're a very attractive couple together. We find out Catherine is a crier. Catherine cries a lot. So I think we're going to see a lot of crying all through. But something that stood out to me as the door closed as they were saying bye to each other, I turned to my husband and I was like, they look alike. They even have a mole, a little tiny mole in the same area. But yeah, but I mean, that happens, I guess,
You
sometimes.
know what stuck out to me was the dress diversity. I'd like to applaud this season of Girls because it wasn't, six bodycon dresses in a row. Everybody's dress was actually different from each other. Good job.
I want to say that that is a US thing. Everybody else in like other countries and other franchises, they always have the diversity in the things that they wear.
Season after season of Love is Blind. Bodycon, bodycon, bodycon. One outlier over there on her own with some originality and style.
Then we have Nicole and Sam. My heart was in my throat. Now, if you want to say awkward, guys, this was it. Sam, oh, go ahead.
Did they kiss?
We'll get there. Sam came on the show, like I said, to exercise a lot of demons because I don't know, he's looking for someone to validate because when Nicole chose him, He just kept saying, just pick me. Don't worry, I won't let you down. I'll give you a good life. That just rubbed me the wrong way. What does I'll give you a good life mean? So
I
when
mean,
they, oh, go ahead.
Sam as a whole person bothers me, but I'll give you a good life didn't bother me.
I question it. What does that mean? Like, I give you a good life, like you don't have to worry about anything, or like, why aren't you saying we'll have a good life? Like, I don't know. I'm just reading meaning into it. So, anyways, they see each other. I mean, when they okay, so when they see each other, funny enough, Sam does seem more enthusiastic than she does. Nicole is stunned into silence. Nicole is frozen, like you could see she wasn't doing this, but it was basically her eyes just bulging out, teeth gritted, and just like, oh my god, what have I done? But it was kind of hilarious, but also cringy. And this man says, I don't care what anyone else thinks. To me, she is gorgeous. Again, I could be reading into meaning, but what does that mean? How do you
What does
interpret
that
that?
mean? Nothing good, y'all. Nothing good. I mean, does that mean anything about what he actually thinks of what she looks? Maybe, maybe not. What does that mean for his view on the world? His view is he's very concerned about what other people may think. Otherwise, he wouldn't have brought it up.
That was just a weird thing to say. I couldn't wait for her confessional to see what she thought, and she's telling us, like, yeah, I can't reconcile the two together, who he was in the pods, and something about seeing him. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I didn't understand what she said. I don't think she understood what she said. She was just in shock. And to Aid's question, there was not a kiss. There was none. There was a hug, and that was it. And as if things couldn't get even worse, they sit down and this man asks her, what color are your eyes? Nicole looks at him like, what other color would my eyes be? And he did not stop there and he says, oh, just boring brown.
It was
And
one of
I,
those things that's really, really bad, but you're like, this is bad, but I can't quite identify why it's so bad. And I don't understand how you got to that thought. How did you get there?
I, I think that was the moment Nicole knew, yeah, I don't fucked up. He said 100 million times, just trust me, okay? Just trust me, okay? Just trust me. I'm going to make you happy. Just trust me, okay? Just trust me, okay? I don't feel bad for Nicole. I'm going to just say that. Two people told you that he's questionable. You decided you were still going to go there. And then, even when you told him you were going to choose him, his first words were, I think I love you. And as if that wasn't bad, when the doors were closing, he said it again. I think I love you. And I'm like, wow, shut up instead of saying that. But one last time he says it again, I'm going to give you the best life. And I was like, eek, I don't know what this is going to happen. But Nicole is in a confessional and she's just like, what have I done, guys? As they took her mic off. Two reveals. So we have Tom and Maria. Again, these reveals just scare the crap out of me. But Maria looks so gorgeous. I loved her dress. It was just for her. It was so flattering, and Tom was so happy. But something that I noticed, Aid, each one of them seemed to apply lip gloss right before
Yes.
they stepped out, and I'm like, guys, you're gonna kiss somebody. Why are we adding more? And even if, why can't we get the smear proof ones or something or the matte?
I
But
thought it was an ad for a particular lip gloss because I was like, why is everybody? And it all looked the same. I was like, what is going on with the lip gloss?
I mean, if it was an ad, it was terrible because we couldn't even see the name or know what brand it is. So. But Maria has red, bright red lipstick and she kisses him, and that thing is all over his mouth. Even when he proposes and when he's talking, she tries to wipe it off, and I think that made it worse. I was like, someone should have had wipes on hand or something. But yeah, it was just everywhere. But they were not awkward. I will say that. I will exempt them from the awkwardness. It was just comfortable, it was just fun, and they're my current favorite couple.
Really?
Yes. What? Wait, you say that with so much surprise.
Why do you think they're not my favorite? I mean, I'm
Ooh.
predisposed to have who I think will be successful as my favorite, and so the golden couple is always my favorite couple. Sabrina and Steven. But really, my favorite couple is probably Demi and Ollie.
Oh, okay. No, they're definitely not my favorite. But I like Tom and Maria because it's comfortable and they seem fun. Steve and Sabrina are, yeah, they're great, but they just seem like they're just gonna be in their own zone and not quite exciting. Not that boring is bad, but I think they might be a tad boring. So yeah, but Tom and Maria are fun to me, and I just like seeing their chemistry and their laughs. The last couple is Ollie and Demi, and like we mentioned earlier, Ollie does decide to go with Demi. I think what really swayed him was the birthday things. She had balloons, she had a card, she had all the things. Demi did was vulnerable with him beforehand and said that there's been a wall and they hadn't bonded because she has endometriosis and she can't have kids naturally, and she always feels like, that's some kind of quote unquote baggage that she brings to her, so she tries to hide it. But Ollie takes it well, and they decide to move forward and she feels free. Ollie does have some reservation that she has mentioned that most of the guys see her as a friend zone kind of person. So is he gonna feel the same way? And honestly, I think that's kind of like a valid thought, a
Yeah,
valid fear.
that was. I
Um.
mean, I that is one of mine, and it's not. I think he was talking more about what she looks like. I was just thinking
Oh.
about who she is.
Oh, I didn't think it was more like what she looked like, because there are some people who just give homey vibes because they're all into the same thing. And she had mentioned that she's like a tomboy and she just does all like the sports and things or whatever. And you could get that comfortable where the romantic side doesn't come in. So um she tells us that she decides to dress up for the reveal. I'm like, thank you. And put on makeup. I'm like, thank you, because just first impression, just do it for a little bit. I will say this, not a fan of her hairstyle because it was giving late 90s. Like, when you go to prom, you put
Yep.
the updo with the front. I was like, oh, we could have done better, but it's okay. I'm glad that she decided to wear, I mean, sorry, Aid, it's kind of bodycon, but it was form fitting, it was halter, and Ollie loved it. Ollie thought she was so gorgeous. He liked the bunda. My husband hasn't stopped saying bunda since we watched this all week. So um yeah, so it was great. They had a good one, but again, I could just see, I just want her to be happy and just feel like she's enough, but I worry about them, and that's why they're not my favorite yet. But yeah, that was all the reveals. Any thoughts before we go to the honeymoon?
Oh, when after Demi saw Ollie, she said, "Oh, he's the type of guy who I would see on the street and be like, oh, he's hot.' I can't remember what she said, but that's not what she said. Oh, he's hot, and but I would never go after him because he would never be attracted to me, and that was pretty sad. I mean, Ollie is cute, but Demi's pretty too. Oh,
Yeah,
and I think earlier you said that Nicole was the only black woman. I mean, Demi has got to be at least half.
okay, let me say the only dark skinned black woman.
Okay.
She's not a biracial, because I mean, in England, I mean, they get to say, isn't that what they call it? Is it mixed race? I'm sorry, they
Yeah.
call them mixed race. So that's what I meant. Sorry.
Um, I will say after we were done with all the couples and all the things, I was like, who is not lasting? Because there's six couples. Who is not making it till the end of the season? Because the only way you're showing us six couples is because not all of them last.
Well, is it though? Because when we have people who go on the honeymoon or people who don't make the cut, we don't see them at all, right?
Exactly. So the fact that we saw all six, I was like, some of these are dropping out.
Wait, hold on. Those couples that we don't see, do they go on the honeymoon?
Well, there was that
They
one
don't,
season where
right?
they did.
No, not that one, because that came with assault, because that was the usual five. But I'm
Yeah,
saying, like, all the couples, when they decide you're not moving forward, they don't go on the honeymoons, right?
correct. But
So,
I still got a strong feeling that something happened, and then my strong feeling was absolutely confirmed within minutes.
no, I know, but I think that's a risk either way, that even if they took five, even if they took four, we can always count lately that there'll be one or two that's going to drop out. We just have a lot of people who don't make the distance. anymore. All right, guys, we'll take a break and then talk about the honeymoon. All right, and now it's time for the honeymoon. After all the reveals, they take a honeymoon on a Greek island. They didn't. Did they say specifically what island, or did they just say Greek island?
Why did I think Corfu, but I really wasn't sure.
I don't know why I have nothing on there.
Oh, and complete side note, but just so you guys know, they did film the pods in Sweden. I guess they have a set of pods there.
Yes, yes. I love how all these shows just kind of like I don't. You don't watch The Circle, right? But I know The Circle. They just finally built their own in the U.S. this year, but they've been flying them to London to film in those apartments because it's already built up there. So economical.
Netflix once had this show called Criminal, and I swear they had an American version, a British version, a German, a French, and maybe something else. They all used one set. I can't remember where the set was. I'm really mad because they only did like one season each, and it was a really good show. But yeah, Netflix is all about economizing these sets.
Yeah. So they all arrive. They all see their rooms. Kat is talking a lot about being nervous to meet Ollie. And again, I don't know if it's the editing, but Fred is looking at her like, are we just saying this in regular conversation? Should this be something that I am worried about? But I don't know if it was editing or if he's worried about it or not. What was your take on
I think he should be. I mean, saying it once is one thing, but I feel like she just was a little bit too far on the point. And I think he
it?
should be a little bit. I mean, this is Love is Blind. You should always be worried about them meeting someone who they had a connection with in the pods.
Yeah. So Nicole comes to her senses and suddenly, I don't know, it was such a weird thing. Like we're watching them on their honeymoon arrive and all of a sudden they cut over. I don't know why they didn't make the artistic choice to show us that before going to the honeymoon. But we see that Nicole decides that she just felt like there was nothing there with Sam and it wasn't going to work and she had to have a conversation. And then they make such a to do of her walking, going to cafe, and she has to have a conversation with one person. Who else is it going to be except Benaya? Like, come on, what is all the tension for? And then he walks in, and then they have a conversation. So I don't know if they're going to. I don't know if he's going to say we should continue because the preview was something like the best outcome happened or something. But if they do, I wonder if they'll let them fly to the Greek island and join the rest, and then we have seven. I don't know, but we'll see what happens.
Did I
Um,
miscount? I thought the six couples included Nicole and Sam.
oh, is that what you meant? I
Yeah.
didn't know. I just went with your number. I didn't know you included Nicole and Sam in that. I didn't know you included them, so I just went ahead with your number.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so six. Um, well, we don't know if they're gonna let them go on the honeymoon.
Yeah, but I think when I said, "Oh, there's six couples and there's going to be a demise," I was counting uh, Sam and Nicole in my six.
Well, they might be the demise. Benaya
Well,
might be
yes,
like,
they
oh,
are
I'm
the
winning.
demise.
Oh, okay, got it, got
So
it,
now
got
we're
it.
down to five couples, which is our normal number on the honeymoon right now.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I guess because I guess at the point she already said no, so that would be the five. Well, it didn't seem like it was a spare for that because she was just like, yeah, I don't think I did the right thing. Um, so these people are enjoying their honeymoon. First night happens. The next morning, Kat lets us know that she had sex with Freddie. She's like, have you seen him? He's so hot. She said they had sex twice. In fact, I think that was the name of the episode. Steven and Sabrina said they had a good night and they may have had a physical connection. So we have no idea if they had sex or not.
I put down probably.
Tom and Maria said that they did not have sex, but they enjoyed a cuddle, and the sexual tension is there, and there's a build up to that. Ollie and Demi didn't have sex at all. but they want to. Ollie says that they want to build on the friendship and sees where that goes, and things like this happen. And I hear Pastor Cal like, "Don't be friends. We'll see what happens." And I'm like, should they? Should they have not? I don't know. I don't know where this is headed. Um, and I think that was the only update that we had. I don't know about Jasmine and Bobby, but Jasmine tells us a lot when they're in the pool that Bobby's hot. She says it a lot of times. Like, I think Bobby is okay looking, but I would not use the word hot to describe him.
I
But
would.
again, if she finds him hot, like, that's great. That's all I care about, is that, you know, that they find each other attractive.
She did say something to the effect of he's not my normal type, but she does find him very, very hot. She did tell us that, like you said.
Yes. Well, I mean, I've mentioned about Nicole talking to Benaya. I just want to add that she said that her heart has to be followed, and I'm like, yo, we can't trust your heart, Nicole. So, not sure what you're following. And then we get previews for what's coming up in the next episodes, and it's not looking good
For
for all
anybody.
the. Yeah, and my prayer, it's already happened, so there's no use praying. But I'm just like, Demi, 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 don't self sabotage. But I also don't know if Ollie's just going to be a dick. I don't know what's going to happen when he meets Kat. I don't know what Kat is going to do. But all I know is I am interested in finding out what's going to happen.
I am interested in finding out what's going to happen. I am very happy for Nicole that she did not drag this out. She met him and she was like, And I don't know if it was what he looked like or if it was what he said, but she was like, nope. And I think that was a good move for her no matter what happens with Benaya.
Hmm. I hope we find out. My friend was like, "Oh, she had to make do with the slim pickings that she had," and I was like, "She doesn't have to pick anyone. If they're not good enough, like no one says you must leave with someone. If both people are not good enough, then walk out by yourself and go find your person outside of the show." And I don't get the impression that, unlike many other shows, I don't know if that's the case or not, but I'm also not getting the vibes, except from Kat, that so like they're trying to be influencers afterwards, you know?
You're correct. They don't give off Instagram influencer vibes. I guess now everybody wants to be a TikTok influencer because that's where the real money is.
That
Um,
is where the real money is.
but no, I did not get. I got a little bit of clout chasing from Sam, but other than that, no, not really.
Sam, his problems are many. That man just doesn't have. He's just trying to find validation anywhere that he can. So, yeah. But yeah, it was a good first four episodes. Looking forward to the next ones. I don't know if you have anything else.
Nope, just that I think it's going to be a great season. And just a reminder for you all, we're covering the whole season. We will have weekly episodes each time a batch of episodes is released on Netflix. So watch out.
Okay.
So that's it for this week. You can find us on Instagram at Twitter at AltarCallMAFS, ALTARCALLMAFS. We love hearing from you guys. Let us know what you thought about this first batch of Love is Blind. Any funny English things that you think about, let us know.
Yeah, and stay subscribed so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Give us a 5-star rating if you're so inclined on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. And until the next time, we shall see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.